Good afternoon, boxing fans around the world, FightHype Live family, and everyone else in between. It's your man Sean Zittel holding it down once again from the elaborate, illustrious, cutting-edge FightHype Live Las Vegas headquarters, here for another FightHype Live for a round by round of Big Bang. Wait, what's that? What's that, chat? You actually are upset that we didn't play the officially licensed FightHype Live music? That makes you angry? I am here but to serve you, the great fans of the world. Here it is. Here we are. It is rematch time in the heavyweight division. I actually once did a top 10 heavyweight revenge fights that got 1,000 views. Nobody watched it, but I did it. I'm plugging it right now. But more important than that video that got no views, it's a rematch between Big Bang Zhang, China's maybe greatest professional heavyweight boxer ever, who pulled off a huge upset months ago in knocking out Joyce, who some people were starting to think was knockout proof. He was the juggernaut, bitch! And he could not be stopped. He could not be hurt. His forward progress and forward momentum could not be stopped by anybody. Until he ran into Big Bang Zhang out of China, southpaw, who finally was a guy big enough to make Joyce pay for his utter lack of defense. Was able to finally a guy who had the size and the punching power to make Joyce pay for his utter lack of defense. And Joyce under Ismail Salas, he won the gold medal in the amateurs, but Joyce under Ismail Salas has really improved his form. His form on his technique on his punches is good, even though his balance sometimes is not. But everything comes out slow. But this guy was starting to look like one of the best chins in boxing in any division. But Big Bang Zhang put an end to all of that. And Joyce's hype, maybe now we're starting to forget, but while he was undefeated coming off of that knockout of Daniel Dubois and Joe Parker, he was really being considered maybe the foremost contender in the heavyweight division outside of the big names and the big champions like Wilder, Joshua, Fury, and Usyk. Outside of those top four, he was in most people's number 5. So Joyce took a huge step back from that big upset against Big Bang Zhang. It's rematch night tonight. The first fight was so non-competitive that a lot of us are wondering, can Joyce really do anything different this time? He's almost 40 years old despite not having a lot of professional fights. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to watching the fight. Want to get things going here. ESPN has Bernardo Osuna and my man Tim Bradley, the Hall of Famer, talking in the studio. So we'll just hang out. We'll just kick it, chat. Looks like we got 77 votes, and almost 70% of you feel like Zhang is going to win this fight again. So let's say what's up to some people in the chat. What's up, Dane Sampson, as always, holding it down in the chat. Thank you, Dane, for always being here, my man. Christian Padilla says Joyce is too slow and too robotic. Josh Stotts says, I wish Andy Ruiz would get more active. Josh Stotts also has Big Bang stopping him. What's up, Caleb? Sean, Colorado is getting folded in football right now. I heard they're down 21-0 against the Oregon Ducks. A lot of people have been waiting for Deion Sanders and the Colorado University football team to have a misstep so they could start dogpiling on them. Looks like that day may have come now. So we'll see. But let me see. What's up? Hey, Susam, saludos, brother. Thank you for being here. JX Ninja says he's 30 pounds heavier. Dane Sampson hits me with the first question of the chat. While we do got some time to kill here, chat. Dane Sampson says, Sean, what do you think of Jonathan Banks training Gennady Golovkin? Did he make any true adjustments to Gennady Golovkin, and do you think he should have stayed with Abel Sanchez? Dane, I think Golovkin, as he neared 30, it probably became less and less important who it was training him. I would have probably preferred for him to stay with Abel Sanchez, who believes in him and knows him very well. Jonathan Banks is a very smart man, a very smart, high boxing IQ guy who was trained under the tutelage of the Kronk Gym, between Sugar Hill Stewart and Emmanuel when he was still with us. So Jonathan has a very high boxing IQ, but the Kronk style loves the 1-2. They like to be boxer punchers, and Golovkin is at his best with behind a busy jab, being an intelligent pressure fighter. And Golovkin's problem was, as he got further into his 30s, in his mid to late 30s, his hand speed lessened. He was never the fastest guy, but he had enough to get his shots off, like when he came to America first and fought Proska, and very underwhelming opposition because the top fighters didn't want to face him. But that was actually his prime, when nobody wanted to face him. By the time Canelo fought him, he was still good, but not in his peak anymore. So Jonathan Banks, there's not that much. I think he was dealing with an old fighter by the time he got Gennady, truth be told. Gennady's body began to get a little softer, and he began to take body punches not as good. Began to get tired easier in fights, and his hand speed lessened. So, it's not really fair for me to compare what Jonathan Banks could have done with Golovkin versus what Abel did with Golovkin, because Jonathan Banks got an old Golovkin, and Abel got to use him in his prime. But I don't think it was the best stylistic pairing between Jonathan Banks and Gennady. If anything, it might have furthered a few traits that weren't good for him as he aged. As he aged, he wanted to be in the pocket less and box more. So for what he wants, it made more sense for him to go to Jonathan Banks, who could teach you to do that stuff well. But for what he needed, to still be willing to stay in the pocket against younger, faster fighters to deliver his bombs, wasn't the perfect style mesh with Jonathan Banks. So, but thank you for the question, my brother. Man, we might have some time to kill. Hassan Johnson said Joyce is too slow and has no footwork or head movement. That's true, but we all knew that about him, and yet most of us had him as a top contender. Outside of the big four, Joshua, Wilder, Fury, and Usyk. I think most people had him at number 5. If you didn't think he was that high, he was certainly on his way to earning a title shot. So I agree. He has no defense. He's very slow, but he was beating everybody up until he ran into Zhang. So we'll see. We'll see what happens tonight. If I had to, I didn't rewatch their fight. I called it live here on the channel. I had never really rewatched it, so I like to really sink my teeth into some tape before I pick a fight. But I mean, off top, I'd probably favor Zhang to win this fight again. The first fight was so lopsided. I don't know what Joyce is really going to improve on, but we'll see. We'll see. He was a big favorite the first time around for a reason. Maybe he shows those reasons in this fight. But School of Skills says, "What's up, Sean? What's up, Sean? And what's up, chat?" Keen Mitch said Triple G begged for Mexican style versus Canelo in the second fight and then boxed Olympic style. I agree. Partly why that fight got away from him. To be fair to him, Canelo didn't fight him at his very best. Triple G's real prime, at least when I saw him in America, was 2012, 2013, when he was fighting subpar opposition. And I think the last time I watched the Golovkin fight and felt like he really looked like that guy, Triple G, it was the Lemieux fight. And then even by the time he had fought guys like Jacobs and even when he knocked out Vaughn's Martirosyan in 2 rounds, Vaughn's was hitting him with right hands a couple of times before he knocked him out in the second. Triple G always took shots, but he started taking them cleaner, got a little slower, got a little less active in the punch count, got tired quicker. So yeah, you still give Canelo credit. I mean, he won the trilogy. I do, he's definitely overall in their careers the greater fighter. But most people thought Golovkin won that first fight, and I think Canelo would have always beaten Golovkin at 168 pounds, but I think Golovkin might have gotten him at 160. Their timelines didn't line up. Canelo was really fighting at 154 pounds when Triple G was at his best at 160, but Triple G at his very best at 160 against Canelo at his very best at 160, Triple G might have won that fight. And at 68, I'd have favored Canelo, though. So, Les Reed says, hi from London. Shout out to you, my man. Jermaine Allen said Joyce will give him a boxing lesson. Interesting assessment that Joyce would give him a boxing lesson and not win the fight, but outbox Big Bang Zhang. I don't know about that, but we'll see. How long before the main event? We're just waiting, man. What's up? Oh, Weedy Gonzalez, what's going on? Weedy says, what's up, Sean in chat? Tex-Mex Ed says, Olaf from Texas. Wasn't Canelo not in his prime as well when he fought GGG? I think he was more in his prime than Golovkin was. I think he was more in his prime than Golovkin was. I think Canelo's peak came in the second Golovkin fight and went all the way through the Caleb Plant fight. And I've seen him take a little bit of a step back since the Caleb Plant fight in the 3 fights since. We'll see what we get next weekend, next Saturday, at 7 days from tonight. I'll be there at T-Mobile for Charlo Canelo. We'll see what we get from Canelo 7 days from tonight. But I think Canelo was more in his prime than Golovkin was for those 2 fights. And then fight number 2 is when Canelo really discovered himself at his peak. And I think Canelo was pound for pound the best from that second Golovkin fight all the way through the Caleb Plant fight. Oh, man. They got me, chat. They got me. There's an undercard fight before we could get to main event time. Jorge Silva. Help me, chat. We got some stalling to do, chat. So, 3 Pumps says Regis putting Haney on notice. I saw that. I saw that interview out there where he said he's going to hurt Devin. And that he took some of the things his dad said personally after the Danielito Zorrilla performance. We'll see. You know, I favor Devin Haney to win that fight. But if Devin, Anthony Yard. Anthony Yard's the co-main event. Lions in the comp. But, what was I saying? About Haney and Pro. Yeah, Haney. I think he's going to win the fight. I actually think he's going to win the fight decisively against Regis Prograis. But against Southpaws, Jojo Diaz and Vasil Lomachenko, they landed their left hand on Devin. They have different styles than Regis. Regis fights with his right hand at his waist. He doesn't come in the high guard and cut distance that way, the way Jojo and Lomachenko, smaller men, not as big punchers, know how to. Quicker on their feet than Regis, though. Jojo and Lomachenko can cut that distance and smother the jab in the high guard. Regis picks his hand up sometimes, but for the most part, he likes to leave his lead hand down. I don't know if that's going to take away the jab the way other southpaws have, that kind of style. But if Regis lands his left hand anywhere near the number of times Jojo Diaz and Lomachenko did, Devin Haney could be in trouble in that fight. Real trouble. He could be hurt and worse. But I think that at 140 pounds and at 24 years old, coming off of a close, tough win against a Hall of Famer in Lomachenko, I think the 12 rounds with Loma will have done something for his development. And moving up from 35 to 40, where he'll be naturally a stronger guy and probably help his conditioning a little bit, not get as tired in the second, and not fade a little bit in the second half. So I think Haney's going to look good against Prograis. But Prograis said all the right things. If you're a Prograis fan, it was music to your ears. This is the kind of mentality you wanted to hear from Regis, talking about he's going to hurt Devin and put him in a hospital. He's the puncher in this fight, and that's the kind of mentality he should be coming into San Francisco with. Because even though he's the champion, he's going to get treated like the challenger. He's fighting in the challenger's hometown. So the challenger is the undisputed champion moving up. He's really the one being treated like a champion. So Regis is almost going to have to win that belt all over again in San Francisco. I liked his mentality, but styles make fights. I think Haney's going to win that fight decisively. And if Haney does win that fight decisively, he'll be sitting pretty. He'll have won titles in 2 divisions, the Glamour belt, the WBC belt at 140. He's not the champion at 140 if he wins that fight. That's Teofimo. But not too shabby at 24 years old to be a 5-time world champion in 2 weight classes, already have been undisputed. And he'll have wins over names like Prograis, Lomachenko, veterans like Gamboa and Linares and Diaz. And then, George Kambosos in there too. Devin will be doing pretty good if he gets that W in San Francisco. So we'll see. We'll see what goes down. Low, it's the Juggernaut, bitch. Yeah, exactly. That's old internet YouTube in the early days of YouTube. The Juggernaut videos. Origin said Regis is super mid. He's actually light welter. No, I'm just kidding. I know what you mean. But Regis can punch. Regis has talent. Regis is tough. But Devin's a thoroughbred. He's been pegged for stardom since he was a teenager. Regis isn't that guy. Regis is a good fighter. He punches hard. It's a good assignment for Haney. But if Haney is who people like me think he is, a future Hall of Famer, a future mainstay on the pound for pound list for the next decade to come, then Regis will be a stepping stone, or maybe he can give him some scary moments. Even if Haney will inevitably win, maybe Regis hurts him the worst we've seen him hurt since the Linares fight 2.5 years ago. So we'll see, but I do think Haney will win that fight because I just think Haney is destined to be a mainstay on the pound for pound. We'll see if he could ever get to number one. Something like that. But I think he'll be on that list for time to come, and I think he's going to win titles all the way up to 54 or at least 147. 54 might be a little bit tougher, but I think to 47 for sure he'll become champion. So we'll see. But yeah, Anthony Yard pretty much had his way in round one. The Newark kid beats them all. Butch Sanchez, referencing Shakur Stevenson. See, that's what a lot of people think. But there's a scenario where even if Shakur does beat Devin, Devin's a mainstay on the pound-for-pound list for 10 years, and vice versa. And actually, I'm saying it right now, I don't think this is a hot take or going out on a limb. If you know your boxing, like almost all of you in the chat do, I think regardless of who wins Haney-Stevenson when it happens, the loser is going to be on the pound-for-pound list as a mainstay for a long time to come. So, even if Stevenson beats Haney or Haney beats Stevenson, I think the loser of that fight is still going to wind up being a pound-for-pound top 10 guy for a significant portion of their career. Let's see. Murd15 said Haney is not only a boogeyman but the villain. Haters want to see him lose. He is a draw. He's increasing as a draw. He's getting bigger as a draw. In 2021, he could only sell about 5,000 seats, 5 to 6,000, maybe 7,000 at that Mandalay Bay fight with Linares. But he could only about half fill up an arena, if a little less, if he's fighting at the MGM against Jojo Diaz. Going to Australia, winning those 2 fights with Kambosos, it gave him a boost. We saw that against Lomachenko. You could say, well, he fought Lomachenko. That's the real boost. Lomachenko had never fought on pay-per-view, even when he fought Teofimo Lopez. He fights Devin Haney on pay-per-view, and them together sell out the MGM and do a little bit better than Top Rank expected on pay-per-view. So, yeah, Devin's, his star is rising at the box office. It's a good thing he headlined a pay-per-view against Lomachenko. Anthony Yard is putting together some nice combinations against Silva here. But you're right. He is starting in wrestling. They call it heat, and Haney is starting to draw some heat, and that's a good thing. You just don't want people indifferent, whether they're dick riding, whether they love you, whether they hate you. You don't want people indifferent. You want people to react one way or the other, and he's beginning to get that out of the public. But it's the boxing public. He hasn't crossed over yet. Very few fighters do cross over. Tank does to a degree. He gets LeBron James and them to tweet out LeBron, a few other celebrities, but right now in boxing, there really aren't that many crossover stars. But we got a lot of young guys like Tank, Shakur, and Devin that could potentially cross over if boxing and if they do right by themselves and boxing does right by them. Down goes Silva in the second round. He doesn't look like he really wants to get up. 7, 8, and he gets up at 8, and the ref stops it. Thank you, ref. That's nice of you, because he got up at 8, and now he's saying, oh, come on. But he didn't really want to fight anymore. The ref could see that in the man's eyes, saved him from further punishment, and we can get one step closer to our main event. Anthony Yard gets the second round TKO. Anthony Yard, by the way, I've seen him in Las Vegas. Nice guy. Nice guy. Some people might have gotten a perception about him, big, muscle-bound guy, like he's this, cocky athlete type, but he's actually very, very cool dude when I've met him at MGM, when he's out here for some big fights. Cool dude, very approachable. So shout out to Anthony Yard. The muscle-bound Brit moves to 24 wins, 2 losses, 23 knockouts, and continues to be a good fighter in the light heavyweight division. Couldn't beat the monster Artur Beterbiev. He wouldn't beat Bivol, but divisions need good fighters that actually can handle themselves and know what they're doing. And Anthony Yard continues to improve a little bit. He continues to get better, enjoy his craft. Again, he's not going to beat Beterbiev or Bivol, but he is a good light heavyweight and continues to try to get better. So shout out to Anthony Yard. Props to him getting that knockout. William Zepeda versus Esau Cruz or Kambosos. I think Zepeda could beat Kambosos. I think those are both competitive fights. A lot of people seem to be running with Zepeda now as a notch below a boogeyman. People are starting to think he's a real dark horse in the division. He's good, he's fun, but I'm not convinced that he beats even Kambosos. People, really? Kambosos probably lost to Maxie Hughes, but styles make fights. Maxie left him in no man's land with the southpaw stance, boxing cute. Zepeda's going to come right to Kambosos. I would probably favor Zepeda over Kambosos, but especially since Kambosos has made some money, probably not going to quite fight with the same edge as when he beat Tio. I'd favor Zepeda. Cruz, I'd be tempted to favor Esau Cruz over William Zepeda because I think his hand speed's a little bit better. Zepeda's hand speed picks up if he punches in combination. But Esau Cruz got that one lead hook snap to his lead hook. His lead hook comes out quick, and he can put together 2 or 3 thumpers, pop, 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 with the left hook, right hook. He kind of throws the right hook even out of the orthodox stance with the backhand. He can put those hooks together pretty fast. And if you're not playing keep away like Giovanni Cabrera or Tank did down the stretch, if you're trying to engage with him, you get beat up trying to go toe-to-toe with Esau Cruz. That would be an all-Mexican war. That'd be an amazing fight. But it'd be a hell of a fight. It would be a hell of a fight. You guys never hear me say this corny shit, but the fans would win, especially Mexican fans who love to see a brawl. That would be a hell of a fight, Zepeda and Cruz. I'm tempted to favor Cruz a little bit, even though Zepeda's longer than him, bigger than him. But Cruz has a good chin. He tucks his chin. And I think he's a little bit punch for punch more explosive than Zepeda, who really hurts you if you stay in front of him and he could run off the combination and boom. And then that's when he sits on a hook. Usually that right hook. He has a good right hook. He has a nice power left hand too. And he could throw it straight left at mid to close range, which isn't always easy to do. Some guys need to be at long range to get that straight backhand shot off. He could operate with a lot of different punches and up close, but he likes to bang, and so does Cruz. And I think Cruz might be a little bit more explosive than him, and might have a better chin than him too. Zepeda's been down before, so the worst part about boxing is me talking about it. There's a good chance that's the closest we ever get to seeing it. It's just me blabbing my mouth about it here on the live, because Zepeda's with Golden Boy and Cruz is with PBC, so you know how that goes. It's a shame. SP Got Beats says, with Haney's boxing level right now, he needs to focus more on kill shots and finishers. Shaking my head. He mastered the fundamentals fully. It's time to level up to something else. SP Got Beats, I appreciate your input. I don't know if I agree with that. Part of me wonders if Devin tries to sit down on the right hand too much and not just let his offense flow and jab the guy's head off. I think sometimes it worked for him against Loma to the body. He would sit down on those withering right hands to the body. But sometimes I think Devin wants to hurt a guy too much. And I know Devin since he was a teenager, since he was 15. And when the lights are on, he likes to perform. And that's a good thing. You want that out of your fighters. He likes to he wants to put some combinations on. He wants to hit the guy hard with the right hand, make something happen like he did against Moran. And I actually think he shouldn't worry about that as much. He was starting to develop one of the very, 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 very best jabs in boxing. And I think he still has that jab. And you don't hear about it as much. He beat now against George Kambosos, where it was that first fight, where it was just about win, get those belts home. He relied on his jab and rode it home. In the second fight, he showed more offense. He used the right hand. He mixed in some body shots, and same thing against Lomachenko. But that jab, Bill Haney, his dad, said a right hand could get you down the block, a jab could get you around the world. Just focus on the jab. Be that great boxer. I think he wants to be a boxer puncher. But being a boxer puncher, that's good too. He could pick his spots. Everybody can. But I think he's better off being unless he fights Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson's the one fighter that he does have to be the boxer puncher. He does have to be aggressive. Because if he boxes with Shakur, I think he could get outboxed. But everybody else, Teofimo, Tank Davis, be the boxer. Be the boxer. You're blessed with long arms and a great jab. So, use that first and foremost. If guys want to run into shots once they get past the jab and they get hurt, great. But otherwise, don't worry about hurting guys with the right hand so much. It's not really happening anyways. No matter how hard you sit down on it, you're not hurting them with the right hand anyways. Maybe that changes a little bit at 140, putting on some weight, growing into his man strength more, not sucking down to 35. But it probably won't have the dramatic effect that all of a sudden he starts knocking guys out. He might get their attention more. We'll see with Prograis. But thank you, SP. I appreciate the discussion topics. I could use them while we're killing time. Marcos Chaz says Showtime is dropping PBC. I'm on Twitter. I saw it too. It's not confirmed by any publications or outlets or anything like that. It's just the Twitter from Rick Glazer. So do with that what you will. I'm not throwing any shade Rick's way, but we do gotta wait for further confirmation. I won't be surprised if that turns out to not be true. Won't be that surprised if it turns out to be true. We shall see. We shall see. I saw Dana White say recently he doesn't give a shit anymore what boxing does. He's putting shows on Mexican Independence Day weekend. That's an indictment on the people running boxing. That's a L. That's a failure. Boxing keeps talking about, PBC Showtime keeps talking about, it's one of the best years in boxing history. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's been a good year. They've put on some good fights, for sure. But despite all that hyperbole, if we were looking like at a big video game map of combat sports, a phrase I hate because I wish it was like the old... I love boxing since I was a kid and wish it was still just the only real show in town when it comes to combat sports. But if we were looking at a map of combat sports in the 90s, right, it would, and say blue on the map represented boxing, and red represented other combat sports, mixed martial arts, whatever, kickboxing. In the 90s, this big map, it had been totally filled for the most part by blue, boxing being the dominant force. If you were to look at that map, it would slowly rescind in blue, and the red wave would take over the map, right? And in 2023, where the red has taken up over almost all of the map, or a large, way bigger chunk of it than boxing holds now, right? In 2023, two of the biggest markers on the map in blue for boxing would have still been Cinco de Mayo weekend and Mexican Independence Day weekend, right? It would have been two of their strong. No matter what, boxing's going to have a big fight on Cinco de Mayo weekend, Mexican Independence Day weekend. It's been that way for 30 years. Doesn't even have to be a Mexican fighter. It could be a black American fighter. But you're going to get a big fight in America, in Vegas, those 2 weekends. Boxing, for at least those 2 weekends out of the year, will matter in the mainstream consciousness, right? Dana White just declared war on one of those last 2 vestiges we have on the map. That's not good. That's not good. And it's the same thing, and I'm not, it sucks because it sounds like you're picking on PBC. Top Rank isn't setting the world on fire. They've had 1 pay-per-view this year, and besides, off the top of my head, Teofimo and Josh Taylor, but besides that, I can't think of anything off top that set the world on fire. Matchroom is a dumpster fire. The Zone became Dead Zone. This fight a couple years ago would have been on the Zone. Now it's on ESPN+. And because of this bullshit that boxing continues to do, we lose fights to Saudi Arabia. We lose fights to Dubai. Now we're losing dates to UFC and Dana White, who's always wanted to cut the throat of boxing. That was his marketing strategy when he came in with UFC. So I'm not happy about that. It's not all rainbows and sunshine in my boxing forecast. And a lot of people would be mad at me about that in the business, and so be it. But there you go. J. Kurt 20, thank you for the super chat. J. Kurt 20 says Devin versus Regis. How do you see it playing out? Thank you for the super chat, J. Kurt. I got Haney winning that fight decisively. When you look at how Regis struggled mightily with Danielito Zorrilla, pop-shotting him with the right hand on the outside, he couldn't land his jab at all. Had that right hand at his waist and fell short with the jab all night. The lateral movement and the length of Zorrilla gave him problems, and Zorrilla might not be half the fighter Devin Haney is. Now Regis Prograis, he killed himself to make weight. He'll have a better time making weight this time because it's a huge assignment. He'll be much more motivated for this level of fight than he was for Zorrilla. So I expect a better Regis Prograis. But again, Jojo Diaz, Lomachenko, they know how to come in the high guard and the southpaw stance, smother the jab, cut distance, quicker feet from smaller men, cutting distance quicker. Regis punches harder than them, Jojo and Loma, but I don't know if he can land his left hand like they did. So if he can land his left hand like they did, he's in business. He could win the fight by knockout. But I think Haney, fresh off 12 rounds with Loma, moving up in weight, he's going to be better. He's going to be an improved fighter from the last time we seen him. He was already pretty good last time you saw him. I think Haney wins the fight. 116, 112, 117, 111, 118, 110, in that kind of range. I don't think it's going to be a 115, 113. I don't even know if it's going to be 16-12. I think Haney's going to decisively win that fight by decision. We'll see. Little Crypty Monster said, I'm looking forward to your ace fight commentary tonight. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. I got a super chat from Connie Charles Lidstrom. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Says, thanks, Sean. Equals $11.50. Appreciate that. You even included the... Thank you, brother. You didn't have to do that. 2 questions. Shakur versus De Los Santos. Easy one for me to answer, Shakur. De Los Santos, I understand he has some danger to him. He can punch. And not only can he punch, he can move. He can move his feet around the ring. So maybe I'm underestimating his chances, but I just think Stevenson is an elite fighter in today's sport. And De Los Santos is just another good lightweight. And I feel like there's a couple of dimensions between just another good lightweight and one of the potentially best pound-for-pound fighters in the sport, entering his prime. So I think Stevenson will win that fight. But, we'll see. Maybe De Los Santos can make him uncomfortable like Nakatia did. Nakatia, with his length and power, De Los Santos has some of that compared to some of other smaller opponents Stevenson has fought coming up from 26. Maybe De Los Santos makes Stevenson not look as good as everyone's touting him to be. We'll see. I think Stevenson will have his way. We'll see. I think Stevenson will have his way. As for Bam and Sonny, look, I don't want to lie to you, Connie. I've watched Sonny Edwards fight. I've watched some tape. But I have to watch more of Sonny Edwards to gauge his chances against Bam Rodriguez. Because when I watch Sonny Edwards on tape in glimpses and in moments, I see a slick guy, a fast guy, a good boxer. But I don't know. I'd have to really watch his work rate and watch him work over a 10, 12 round fight to see how consistent he is and to see how much his lack of punching power hurts him and how little respect, or if he does actually get respect from his opponents when he fights them. Chat, help me out a little bit here. For those of you in the chat who really know some Sonny Edwards and know his game, help me out, chat. What do you think of his chances against Bam? Because from what I do have seen of Sonny, I am favoring Bam. I see 2 guys who have good footwork, good boxing IQs, but one's a much, much better puncher who's going to make his punches count for a lot more when he lands. Maybe Sonny Edwards could keep up with Bam, skill for skill. Maybe he could land just as much. But when they land, it's going to be a big difference because Bam Rodriguez can really punch. Bam gets a little big in between fights. That face gets a little fat, so maybe that catches up to him. We don't know his lifestyle habits in between fights. Maybe he just likes to eat some tortas and puts on some healthy weight in between fights, and that's part of why he's stronger than these boys down low, in those slower weight classes. But we'll see. I favor Bam, but at the same time, Connie, I gotta actually watch more tape on Sonny Edwards. I don't know him by the back of my hand. I know Bam Rodriguez. I know what he likes to do, and I know what he's capable of. I've only seen snippets and highlight reels of Sonny. I have to really watch him. So we'll see. I think he's a funny guy. I like his personality, Sonny Edwards. I know a lot of people say he's an ugly, rat-looking motherfucker, and they don't like him, and he's annoying, and he had the association with Kinahan and all that. I like him. He strikes me as a funny guy who's himself and not afraid of it, who's a 5'0" guy who walks like he's 6'5" and could probably back it up to a degree pretty good. So I like Sonny Edwards. I like him, but I'm. You know, if he wins, I'll be happy for him to get his date with Clarissa Shields. I'll be happy for the brother, but I do think Bam will win that fight, but we'll see. Leo says Teofimo versus Tank. Who you got? I would take the slight underdog in Teofimo. I think Teofimo is just a naturally bigger man than Tank, and man. Gervonta's more confident than Teo, though. But then again, I've seen Gervonta be unsure of himself when he fought Rolly Romero. That's a good fight. That's a hell of a fight. I would favor Teo a little bit because they're both kind of similar. They're powerful, slick, smart fighters who kind of prefer to be counterpunchers than they do to go after you. But Teo's bigger than Tank. Teo's bigger than Tank. He's a bigger man. And I think he's just as good an athlete as Tank. And he's a little bit bigger, a little bit longer than Tank. I think Tank punches a little harder than Teo, but Teo can crack. And, I think Teo is comfortable fighting at a faster pace than Tank. Tank likes to fight at 20, 30 punches a round. I think Teo's fine fighting at around 50 punches a round. So that could be an edge, too. And he could counter with the best of them, Teo. So a lot of the tricks in Gervonta's bag, Teo has them as well, but he's a little bit bigger, and he throws a little bit more punches. Gervonta's more confident. Gervonta's more accurate. Teo's accurate too, but Teo relies on the counters to be accurate. Gervonta's a little bit more accurate with his bombs, and he punches a little harder, and he's a little more confident than Teo. But Teo's a little bit bigger. Teo throws more punches, and yeah, I would give the edge to Teofimo. Too bad we'll probably never see it. Just that's the problem I have. As I continue to cover boxing, I'm in my... Shit, if you cover high school when I covered Antonio Margarito at the Aladdin, which is now the Planet Hollywood, I technically been covering boxing 17 years. But if you count when I really started to go at it full time, I've been covering boxing. This is my 12th year covering boxing. Next year will be 13. And as it goes on, speaking for myself personally, like, you just want to make less excuses for boxing. When you're younger, you're a bleeding heart for the fighters, for the business, you have to understand it takes time to build up a fight, and you have to, they're with different promoters, and you have to understand, you don't have to understand. Sometimes it's just bullshit, and boxing will always be, until boxing is like the NFL and the NBA and the MLB and the NHL, where no matter what, every weight class inevitably is going to have to face each other off to see who's the best in the division. Like football. It's not, I'm Patrick Mahomes, I'm in the AFC. What do I need to play Jalen Hurts in the Super Bowl? And I'm already making money. My money's guaranteed. We play on CBS. We don't play on Fox. Why we're going to play the NFC team and all that? No. Until boxing, and until boxing gets more like the NFL and the NBA in terms of it's a meritocracy. You gotta go to the playoffs. You gotta face the best teams and all that. There is no ducking and all this stuff. Then it's always going to be relegated to the back pages. And I'll be here till I hit the grave with the sport. No matter how big or how small or how high or how low it goes, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. But I'm tired of making excuses for it. Like, even how we treat great fighters like Floyd or Crawford or Canelo. And they get to a point in their career where we kind of are like, he's earned the right to pick and choose who he plays. Where do they do that at? That would be like if Tom Brady, when he played for the Bucks, you don't have to play Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. You don't have to go on the road in the NFC Championship game to play Green Bay. You've won 6 Super Bowls. You're in your 40s. These young guys like Mahomes have to prove themselves. You don't have to play him in the Super Bowl. It's like, yeah, if you want to be Super Bowl champion, yes, you do. Or retire. and that's where I'm at with boxing too. Like, this guy, Canelo, he doesn't have to face Benavidez. Yes, he does. He's ducking the best fight in his division. Now, if he does wind up ducking David long term and it never happens, is he still a first ballot Hall of Famer? Yes. Is he still one of the great fighters of his era of all time? Yes. But I'm not feeling that part. Crawford, if Crawford sticks around 147, if he sticks around 47 and it's not Ennis after a year or two, then yeah, it's the same thing. It's not like you have to fight this guy to prove you're a Hall of Famer, to prove you're great, but it's a duck. Tom Brady has to play Mahomes no matter how old he is, no matter how many Super Bowls he's won. LeBron James has to play Giannis Antetokounmpo no matter how many MVPs he's won. This is still it's about, no one's bigger than the game. No one's bigger than the sport. And that's how I feel now. None of these guys are bigger than the sport itself, even though some of them do, sometimes that is true. Mike Tyson did get bigger than boxing. Muhammad Ali did get bigger than boxing. But that's not how I'm supposed to look at it. From my where my position is in boxing as an observer, a journalist. I gotta hold some feet to the fire more. So, the likelihood of dying isn't the same though. Sean says, Jay, I don't think boxing will ever die, But then again, sometimes it's like, but all things die, don't they? Things fall apart, like the Root said. All things come to an end, So we can't have that false sense of security. Oh, boxing will never die. And it's like, well, it could. Anything can. Rome fell apart, So, all right, here comes the juggernaut Joe Joyce. To the ring now. Main event time. Main event time. Boxing playoffs every summer. Something like that. SP got beats, something. I love that boxing's the Wild West. I'm not saying I want, but now I get why Teddy Atlas would always go, boxing needs a dictator. It needs an overseer who's going to force everyone to do what they're not going to do on their own. And I get why Teddy would say that, So, all right, but the juggernaut coming to the ring. I don't know if let's see how Joyce is coming to the ring. Smile, showing that mouthpiece as he walks out. Now he's visible to the arena in London. Sleepy says Zhang in 10 or 11. Legal Eagles saying, loving the passion about boxing from you. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Jay Daniels, I'm talking about the fighters versus football players, Sean. Oh, yeah, that fighters die and football players do not. That's true. No, I mean, it's true. Boxing's the tough, like, a dozen or so boxers die some years, so I get it. They have to be a little bit different about their risk. No, they have to look out for themselves. I get that. I'm not mad at them for doing it. It's the structure of the sport. Sometimes I'm mad at them for doing it. Like Gervonta, I know you're making all the money. I know you're great. And the people you listen to, they continue to make you great money. So why listen to me over them? I get it. But just from where I'm sitting, on my ass, nice and cozy, you're about to turn 30 and there's not any desire in you no sense of urgency to have that fulfillment of being a great fighter. Don't you want that? Haven't you made the money at this point and proven, been a world champion, made some great money, beaten some good fighters? Don't you want that last step of fulfillment to self-actualization, to prove you are truly the real deal no matter what? Beat Haney, beat Stevenson and cement that about yourself. I want to see that from him. There's only so long you could point the finger at his management, at his advice. At some point, it's on him. He needs to tell, like Errol Spence did with Crawford, like Arturo Gatti did with Floyd Mayweather. It ended awful for both of them on fight night, but credit to them as fighters for really wanting to know where they stand in their greatness and putting themselves to the test. So I do think Tank will do that before it's all said and done. His team is very smart with money, and that's what guys fight for. It is prize fighting, like Floyd used to say. But Floyd also beat a lot of great fighters at his age already. So what about that part, And we'll see. It'll happen, and we'll see. Here comes Zhang coming to the ring now. The man who won the first fight. Shocked a lot of people with that knockout. And here he comes to the ring. And to my eyes, Zhang is coming to the ring the more confident fighter. Still maintaining. He doesn't look overconfident like Liam Smith did against Chris Eubank. Liam Smith came in, his body didn't look as good as the first fight, and he looked a little overconfident, like a bully, you know, like, oh, I'm gonna beat this guy again. And Chris Eubank had the camp of his life and fought the fight of his life with Bomac. But Zhang, to my eyes, doesn't have the demeanor that Liam Smith had of overconfidence. He looks very confident, like he's sure that he's going to do the same thing he did in the first fight, but he looks like he's in shape, does Zhang. Both fighters put on weight from the first fight, but they're both in the ring now, and the man who was the big underdog in fight number 1 strolls into the ring as a favorite against the juggernaut Joyce, and we are set for this fight to get started pretty soon, folks. Did Yard win? Asked We Are All Guilty. He did win, second round knockout, and he looked good. Good fighter, Anthony Yard. So let's see. Let me see here. Here we go. So here we go. Baseball Furies ask, guys, can I become a fighter? How old are you, Baseball Furies? How old are you? Weedy Gonzalez, it was a 45-minute wait, but we did it. That's what we do. It was exactly 45 minutes. You fucking nailed it, Weedy. Didn't you predict that as the time it would take? EJ looking for step-aside bread. That's smart. If you're right, School of Skills. If that's true, that's pretty smart. Get some money. Get something. If it's gonna be if Terrence is making you come to 47, you're like, I just can't make the weight. Then get some step-aside money out of him. Go for it. 13 baseball. Okay, you're 13 Baseball Furies. If you want to fight, if you want to box, go to your nearest gym. Don't be intimidated. Boxing isn't this. It's not a 1980s movie when you walk into a boxing gym and it's like everyone turns around like, who's this pussy? You know, no. Boxing gyms are filled with very kind people, kind coaches, and the first 6 months to a year, you're not going to probably get a lot of attention. You'll have to do the drills with the class, and you'll be a part of a class. But the more you show up every day and try your best, the more the coaches in a gym are going to gravitate towards you and give you more time and teach you how to box better and better. So you're 13. It's not too late. You know, get in the gym. It's Saturday. When Monday comes around, you know, take your butt to the gym. Don't be afraid. Do your best, and good things will happen, man. So that's real talk. Mr. 220 said, "Yeah, ignore me." What'd you ask, Mr. 220? You didn't need to call me a clown at that. I didn't. There's a lot of people in the chat. Mr. 220 said, "You talk a lot for a dude that ain't getting in the ring with none of these dudes." Well, I mean, that's silly. Larry Merchant didn't get in the ring with none of these dudes. Jim Lampley didn't get in the ring. Al Bernstein didn't get in the ring. Custy Amato didn't box professionally. Angelo Dundee didn't box professionally. Yeah, just about Howard Cosell, Don Dunphy. I don't even know if you know some of these people, youngin', but all the greats that do what I do didn't box professionally. I boxed in the amateurs. I've been in the ring with some guys that went on to be pro. Jesse Magdaleno, Diego Magdaleno, Michael Hunter, Hassim Rahman Jr. I sparred these men when we were teenagers. So, you know, but that doesn't matter. It's a stupid mentality to have because no one can ever be criticized. That you can never criticize the president. You can never criticize a doctor, even when they fuck up, because you never went to medical school. You've never been in politics. You've never been a president. It doesn't take someone to be in politics to say Joe Biden's economy fucking sucks or Donald Trump says stupid fucking shit. By your logic, what do I know about it? I've never been president. So, you know, get off that. You're the clown. Next. All right, main event time. We're about to have these two in. Main event time. Here we go. Both fighters coming to the center of the ring. I said spar, tough guy. I sparred pros before. Have you? Who cares? I debunked your point. Now you're just moving on to other points. Got that Madonna 80s stuck in my head. I know that's lame of me. All right, here we go. Round one, set to start. Big Bang Zhang against the juggernaut Joe Joyce. Round 1, here we go. Zhang, southpaw. Joyce, orthodox, starts pawing with his jab. Nothing landing yet from Joyce, just pawing with the jab. Zhang batting it down as the lead hands combat each other. Southpaw versus orthodox fighter. Zhang on the front foot a little bit. Joyce stepping over to his left, taking side steps, just pawing with his lead left hand. Zhang feinting with that lead hand. Feints again, does Zhang. The straight left hand to the chest lands for Big Bang Zhang to start this fight in round 1. 30 seconds into it. Joyce with a slow lead hook, not landing, falling short. Zhang trying to get good positioning to set up that straight left hand again that Joyce could not get out of the way of. Joyce offering up more lateral movement to start. Zhang falling short with a lead right hook. Joyce continuing to paw with his jab. Now jabs to the body, gets it in. Paws with the jab some more. Stepping over to his left. Short with the lead hook. Stepping over to his left. Stepping over to his left is Joe Joyce. Trying to give more angles in round 1 than he did last time. Short with his jab. Zhang starting to step over to his left too. Move his feet in concert with Joyce. Zhang, straight left hand, but Joyce getting the glove up to block it, moving his head off the line. Joyce pawing with the... Now he lands the jab. Gets a jab in. Joyce stepping over to his left. Lands a little jab to the body. Short with the left hook. Zhang with the straight left hand to Joyce's chest again. That time not landing as good as it did about a minute ago. Joyce, lead left hook, gets blocked. Pawing with his jab. Zhang blocks it. Straight left hand to the body lands for Big Bang Zhang. Nice straight left hand to the pit of Joyce's stomach. Fighters both staying in the center of the ring. Zhang working his jab. Joyce getting his glove up to block it. Straight right hand to the chest for Joe Joyce off a 1-2. Lands on Zhang's chest. Both guys targeting the chest and the midsection to start. Jab to the body by Joe Joyce. Staying in the center of the ring. Continues to just move to his left. Not move to his right as all as Joyce. 1 minute left in the round. Joyce has been a little bit more active than Zhang, but hasn't really committed to any power shots at all. Just pawing with his jab, trying to touch the chest or touch the body. Nice jab to the body for Joyce. Zhang coming back with a straight left hand to the body, but Joyce with good defense to catch that body shot. Joyce pawing with the left, pawing with his stepping over to his left. Jabs, but gets it parried by the lead right hand of Zhang. Zhang trying to set him up for the straight left hand, but Joe Joyce not standing in one place as often as he did in the first fight. So Zhang not getting that straight left hand up to the head just yet. Jab to the body lands for Joyce. Backs out of range a little bit. Steps over to his left. Jabs up top and falls short. Pause with the jab. Zhang looking a little more unsure of his range and distance, with Joyce moving more, stepping off to his left more in round 1. Round almost over. Zhang not able to get off because Joyce's feet, though they weren't moving like Muhammad Ali in there, just enough footwork to not let Zhang feel comfortable with his range and letting go of his straight left hand. I'll give that round to Joyce. Not a whole lot to choose from. The definition of a feeling out round in round 1. But Joyce, ring generalship, pawing with his left hand, but pawing more active than Zhang. Give that round to Joyce. Zhang did land a straight left hand to the chest of Joe Joyce, but that's how little there was to choose from in round 1, guys. I'm mentioning straight left hands to the chest as scoring blows. So no, not a lot of real action in round 1. Joyce was more active, and his footwork did give Zhang some problems there in round 1. So 10-9. 10-9 Joyce. Alright. Round 2, set to start now. Joe Joyce letting go of a straight right hand, falling short with it, hitting nothing but air, but letting that right hand go. Now Zhang starts popping his feints, trying to get some feints going to set up some offense. Joyce continuing to be busy with the lead hand, just pawing it out there, not throwing it hard, not sticking it in. Now Zhang tries to stick a jab in, but Joyce keeping it at long distance makes him fall short. Joyce now stepping to his left and stepping inside a little bit like he wants to get off a right hand. Jab to the body by Joyce. Makes Zhang move out of range. Zhang with a straight left hand to the body, but Joyce with the right glove down to block it. Nice jab lands for Joe Joyce in the center of the ring. Could see Zhang struggling a little bit with the adjustments of Joyce. Jab to the body for Zhang, jab to the body for Joyce. Straight left hand to the body for Joyce or for Zhang is blocked, but it sets up a straight left hand that nicks the chin of Joyce a little bit. Joyce trying a different defensive look, but that one got in. The jab and the straight left hand just off the mark a little bit for Zhang, who's starting to get closer with that straight left hand in round 2 now. Joyce continuing to step over to his left. Paul with the jab, moving his head more. Stepping over to his left. Jab to the body for Zhang. Jab to the body for Joyce. Zhang with a slight edge in this round because he started to get close with a few straight left hands. Nicked the chin of Joyce with a straight left hand about 30-40 seconds ago. Zhang short with the jab. Joyce fighting much more defensively this fight, not stepping into anything. Zhang, straight left hand. He missed the first straight left hand, missed the right hook, but the straight left hand the second time landed. And a little follow-up combination for Zhang, who's now found the mark with that straight left hand. Right hook, straight left hand lands for Zhang. Straight left hand lands again for Zhang. A little cuffing right hook. Joyce trying to respond, but falls short with his response punches. Joyce coming forward now, plodding with the jab, but still slow. Joyce trying to come in, but unsure of himself. Rips a right hand to the body and a left hook up top. Good little moment there for Joe Joyce, but not sitting down on the shot. Jab lands for Joe Joyce. He blocks the 1-2 in return from Zhang. Jab lands to the body for Joe Joyce. Straight left hand to the body lands for Zhang. Now they're in mid to close range. Straight left hand blocked for by Joyce for Zhang. Joyce sweeping a right hand in the middle of the ring. Zhang getting the gloves up to block. A nice right hand to the body by Joe Joyce. After Zhang brought his hands up to block the right hand up top, Joyce placed it to the body and landed it. Joyce a little bit more active than Zhang down the stretch of this round, but still a Zhang round because he landed some big power shots in this round. Nice jab lands for Joyce. Zhang missing with a wild straight left hand counter. Straight left hand gets in that time, though, for Zhang. Straight left hand, right hook, and a straight left hand, and another right hook for Zhang. Southpaw finding the power shots. Right hook landing from Zhang off the straight left hand. Another straight left hand landing for Zhang, and a right hook at the bell. Joyce making him miss the straight left hand off the shoulder, but Joyce with a little bit of a look in his face like, he's getting me again. And Zhang began to find the mark with the textbook power shots the southpaw wants to land. Straight left hand, right hook, straight left hand, right hook. Joyce getting it in as Zhang getting it in as Joyce trying to shoulder roll, kind of trying to give half his body and do his version of a shoulder roll, but the punch is coming up over the top and landing on him. And those right hook, straight left hand combos got in for Zhang, began to make it look like the first fight again. 1-1, but a bigger round 2 by Zhang than it was Joyce winning a feel-out round in round 1. So 19-19 after 2 rounds, but not looking good for Joyce because he began to get hit with the same shots he got hit with in round 1. So we shall see. Elder Dragon said Zhang, one-man Niner gang. I just like the 49er shout out. Zhang is up off his stool before the 3rd round even begins. He's up off his stool, and Joyce has the look of some disappointment in his corner. Like some of those power shots began to already take the wind out of his sails. Not because he can't hold up to it for many more rounds, but because he knows the adjustments, they've already began to wear off in effectiveness in round 2. Let's see if that's the case. Round 3, here we go. Joyce starting with a 1-2, falling short. Not stepping into his shots with confidence. Weary of the power of Zhang. Joyce stepping over to his left, 2-3 jabs, but not effective. Straight right hand in the body falls short for Joyce. Zhang just trying to line him up with well-timed power shots again like he did in first fight. Little touch left hook to the body lands for Joyce. Straight right hand misses for Joyce. Straight left hook falls short on the shoulder of Zhang. Straight right hand touching the body of Zhang. Joyce trying to work, but not a lot of thump on any of these punches. He's not punching with confidence. Zhang now pawing with the jab, taking a step forward, trying to set something up as Joyce goes back. Straight left hand for Zhang, but Joyce smothers it a little bit and comes back with a quick combination. Nice jab lands for Joyce. Joyce in the center of the ring, doing this, pawing with his punches. Sets up a left hook, gets countered by a right hook, though. Nice setup by Joyce to land a left hook that was fast by his standards, but Zhang came right back with a counter right hook. Might have got the better of it. Straight right hand lands for Joyce. Not a lot of power on it, but he got it in. Left hook falls short and misses. Straight left hand to the body for Big Bang Zhang. Joyce trying to touch Zhang. Straight right hand sets up a little left hook for Joe Joyce, getting around the guard. Sweeping right hand, Zhang blocks it. Straight left hand lands for Zhang as he steps forward. blocks the left hook of Joyce. Joyce trying to move his upper body and set something up. Left hook to the body, straight right hand up top for Joyce, but neither landing, and he eats a jab from Zhang, who out-jabbed him when they both opened up with the jab. Another jab lands for Zhang. Zhang pawing with the jabs. So beautiful. Pawed with the jab, left hand, and Joyce is hurt. Joyce is hurt here in the third. Joyce still up, but that got his legs reacting. Straight left hand to the body by Zhang. Right hook lands up top for Zhang. Joyce trying to keep his composure. Straight left hand lands through the center for Zhang. Another round going Zhang's way now. That was a beautiful setup. Pawed with the jab and then put a little angle on the left hand. Didn't just throw it straight. Put a little angle, a little bit of an overhand on it, and that hurt Joyce. Joyce backing up, pawing with his jab, pawing with his jab. Zhang lowering his lead right hand, trying to set up that put a little mustard on that left hand again, put a little something on it, make it a little bit of an overhand. Zhang making Joyce fall short with the jab, steps in with a 1-2. Joyce getting his head off the line a little bit. Nice jab lands for Joyce, but too slow with the right hand of the body. Joyce is just too slow. His punches are not compact. And he doesn't have Zhang's timing. Joyce trying again with the jab, but it's mostly getting blocked by Zhang, and Joyce is not sitting down on any right hands. Hardly even sitting down on the jab. And the look in his eyes are, oh, down goes Joyce! That is a knockout of the year candidate! Straight left hand to the body by Zhang. Right hook up top. Changed levels on the 2-punch combination. 7, 8. The referee stops it. That's not the knockout of the year. It's probably Fundora versus Brian Mendoza, or it might be Junto Nakatani on that Lomachenko-Haney undercard. But what a fantastic knockout by Big Bang Zhang in round 3. Straight left hand to the body, changing levels, right hook up top. Straight left hand to the body, right hook up top. Joyce didn't see the right hook coming. He was worried about the straight left hand, So the straight left hand comes. It comes down here. So do his eyes. Right hook, didn't see it coming. And that was it. A little sad to watch for Joyce, who I could tell in the eyes after the second round alone knew he was going to lose this fight again, and that his adjustments were already coming up short. Tough to watch for Joyce, but beautiful knockout by Big Bang Zhang. Good fighter, good skills, and he set up the knockout shot was with the right hook, and about 30-40 seconds before that, he hurt Joyce, pawned with his jab, and then rather than throwing the straight left hand down the pipe, he put a little mustard on it, put a little bit of a loop on it, overhand, not an exaggerated overhand shot, but put a little bit of an angle on it to drive the power that much more. It hurt Joyce. Joyce was looking for that left hand. It came down here, changed his eye level, didn't see the right hook coming, fight was over. Third round knockout for Big Bang Zhang. And that's a wrap for Joyce, folks. That's a wrap for Joyce. He won the gold medal. He was walking through guys until he walked into a guy that made him pay with his power and his size, Big Bang Zhang. And that's it for Joyce, folks. That's it. Zhang, good fighter. I don't think he beats Tyson Fury. I don't think he beats Deontay Wilder. He might be able to beat Anthony Joshua because Joshua could be soft sometimes. If Joshua fights to his potential and Zhang fights to his potential, Joshua probably beats him. But I don't know. That's a tough fight. That's a very tough fight for Joshua. Usyk beats him. Too slow for Usyk. Not going to beat Fury. Wilder is rangy and athletic. So, Zhang is a good fighter. Good top 10 heavyweight, no doubt about that. We all know that. He deserves to probably get a shot at one of the big names now. If I'm Big Bang Zhang, I want Joshua because I think I could win that fight. I think Zhang is the underdog against Joshua, but out of all the big names in the division, that's the most winnable fight for Big Bang Zhang, Joshua. So, hell of a knockout. I hope you guys enjoyed the commentary, man. Mr. 220, again, just keeps hating. You a YouTube commentator. You ain't no boxer. I've sparred professionals. I'd love to see you across the ring with your gear on. All right, well, Mr. 220, I don't know what got up, your ass and made you have a hard on for me, but we're just gonna remove his bitch ass. Bye-bye, Mr. 220. Bye-bye, Mr. 220. And anyways, but Mr. 220, you get knocked out by most of the chat. Let's be real. Yeah, any guy coming in with bitch energy like that probably can't fight. Maybe he can, but we'll never find out. He can go somewhere else with his bullshit. Anyways, Big Bang Zhang did a good job, did his thing. Red Sherlock said Zhang is a problem. Deca says Joyce should retire. Not bad advice, honestly. Koka Zanaki said, nah, AJ by knockout. He's no Joyce. Fair enough. So, yeah. Yeshua Saver said, ignore him, Sean. I know. That's stupid of me. I know. I'm usually better than that. But to give him credit, Mr. 220, you're probably still watching. You did get on my nerves. And usually the haters don't. You know, they talk shit about my hair or this or that, and I have fun with it. But good job to you, sir. You did get me a little bit mad. So hang that on your wall as an accomplishment. That was a beautiful punch from the bang, said Red Sherlock. Deca says Zhang versus Andy Ruiz. That'd be an interesting fight. Won't happen probably. Let's see. Am I coming back for Richardson Hitchens versus Zepeda? I kind of wanted to. But I think my family really wanted to go to San Gennaro tonight. And you guys know I'm a Guinea. And my wife and my kid really, well, my kid's 4. He don't talk like that yet. But I know he would love going to the festival tonight. I got to cover the Raiders against the Steelers tomorrow night at Allegiant Stadium. So I wouldn't be able to take my family Sunday night to the festival. So Saturday night, I'm not going to do Hitchens fight. I'll be at San Gennaro watching on my phone the Hitchens fight, probably tweeting about it, but I gotta let the family get some family time tonight, and especially with Charlo Canelo next week. Big fight weeks like that, I see my family a lot less than usual. So probably going to take the family to San Gennaro tonight here in Las Vegas, and I'll watch the Richardson Hitchens fight from my phone while I'm at the festival, taking my son on rides. Go enjoy, just tweet something, please. I got you, Koka Zaraki. I got you, brother. Got you. Joel Golden said, from the beginning of this fight, you could tell Joyce wasn't going to win. He made some adjustments. He stepped over. He only went one direction. He moved to his left. He tried to move his head more. He tried to fight at long range and tuck his chin behind his shoulder, but that's very sophisticated stuff in boxing that there's no way possible, especially an old dog trying to learn new tricks. There's no way you're going to be able to implement that stuff in your game in one camp. So credit to Joyce for trying, but if he wasn't going to be able to juggernaut this guy, he's not going to outbox him. He tried to. He did win a gold medal, so he could box apparently somewhat, but he tried pawing with his left hand, and he won the first round. He didn't land anything, but he was more active than Zhang. And Zhang did have a look on his eyes early on, like, okay, this is a little harder to get my rank. But then by the second round, he was already figuring it out. And really, the first time he hit Joyce with a hard straight left hand right hook combo, you could already see the look in Joyce's eyes of defeat, of that. So some of the life already come out of him. So, which was kind of tough to watch for Joe Joyce, but it's boxing. It is what it is. NZ Bricks said, thanks, cheers for the commentary. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Joe Lewis, good to have you in the chat. We'll be missing Hitchens, unfortunately. Am I doing Francis Ngannou versus Fury? Absolutely. I will be doing that fight live round by round. I'll even be doing the circus fights October 14th. The Dylan Dennis, Logan Paul. I'm guilty. There is a part of me that does want to see that conclusion. I think Logan Paul is going to beat the kid up, by the way. Dylan Dennis, who's not a kid, but I think Logan Paul is going to beat him. But, I mean, his all-out assault on Logan and his fiance, it did catch my attention. I think it caught everybody's attention. So I'll be watching and doing a round by round. Then I think KSI fights Tommy Fury. Kind of hope Tommy Fury gives him the business. Like most adults. I don't love. I sell out. I try to make money off of it. I'll take the arrows there. I'm a sellout for doing a live round by round on it. But at least I'm honest. But yeah, I'll even be calling those fights, and then. I'll be doing interviews all week long for Canelo Charlo. Grand arrivals start Tuesday at the MGM. Canelo, and then Wednesday's press conference, Friday's weigh-in. We'll be getting content here on FightHype all week long for Canelo Charlo. So, Keep it locked in. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, I appreciate that, Coco Zaraki. Appreciate that, man. So, all right, guys. I think that's about it, man. Zhang did his thing. Not really surprising, right? This is probably what most people expected, Zhang to win the fight again. Brum Oska, you asked this a couple times, and now that the fight's over, I'm happy to get to it. But quickly, from Patrick Bamudeli, with the kind words, Patrick says, make sure you get your own business or channel in the future. You are a great talent who truly lives boxing. Thank you, Patrick. I appreciate that. Brum Oska, had to get to you, brother. Have a good one, Connie Charles Lindstrom. Thank you, brother, again for that super chat earlier. Have a good rest of the weekend, man. Thank you. So, Brum Oska says, Valdez versus William Zepeda. That's Zepeda. Valdez has been in a lot of wars, and he's a little guy who used to fight at featherweight. He takes Zepeda over Valdez. Isaac Cruz versus Navarrete. Well, that's tough because Navarrete started at 122. We don't know what he looks like at 135 pounds. He's at 130 right now. I think Navarrete's definitely a better fighter than Isaac Cruz. Cruz is good too. But I think Navarrete is the second best fighter in the world out of Mexico behind Canelo. But he is a thin guy coming up from 22, and he's never fought at 35. So there'd be some question marks there, even though he's better than Cruz. I'll probably still give the edge to Navarrete because at the end of the day, he's better than Cruz. But weight matters too. We don't know what he would look like at lightweight. But I was very impressed with Navarrete beating Valdez. I would probably give the edge to Navarrete. William Zepeda versus Isaac Cruz at 135. That's a pick'em fight. I might give the edge to Cruz because Zepeda likes to stand in front of you. And if you stay in front at close to mid-range with Cruz and allow him to get off those hooks and those explosive quick bursts, it could be a problem. But Zepeda is longer than him, does throw more punches than him. It'd be interesting. Cruz has a better high guard than Zepeda. He tucks his chin better than Zepeda, but Zepeda's got a couple more moves defensively than Cruz. He's good at getting low, jabbing to the body, and kind of tucking behind the shoulder, doing his own shoulder roll a little bit. But Zepeda gets hit a lot, and I think Cruz gets hit less than Zepeda. So that means he's a little bit better defensively. I think even though Zepeda has more knockouts, I think punch for punch, just one punch power, Cruz might be a little bit more explosive and snappy with his left hook. Zepeda gets more snap on his shots the longer you stand in front of him and let him run his hands. So I don't know. I might give the edge to Cruz. Keith Thurman versus Gervonta at 147. Probably Gervonta just because Keith has fought one time in 4 years and isn't hungry like that anymore. Tank is much smaller than Keith, but I mean, if Keith Thurman could find a way to actually beat Keith Thurman that night, he could beat Tank. But I think he'll be a washed up version of himself. He wasn't washed up against Mario Barrios. The Keith Thurman that fought Mario Barrios, it's still a pretty interesting fight with Tank. It's an interesting fight. I favor Tank, though, because Keith has fought one time in 4 years, and I'd favor Tank. And do you think Beterbiev can crack Canelo's chin? Yes. I think no matter how amazing your chin is, and Canelo has one of the greatest chins in boxing history. I don't think he just has one of the great chins of the last 10, 15 years. I think he's moving into the territory. 63 fights, never been down as a pro, never been down in a title fight. We've seldom seen him hurt. I think Beterbiev, huge guy compared to Canelo, huge puncher. Yeah, I think he could hurt Canelo. Yeah, in a way that other fighters can't. More than a Benavidez, more than Bivol ever did. Bivol never hurt Canelo, but I think Beterbiev is probably the one guy out of these weight classes from 60 to 75 that would hurt even Canelo's chin. Yes. Molly Mall, what's up, brother? Molly Mall said Nakatani, Mendoza, and Big Bang KOs of the year. I agree. That's what I said after the KO. I feel like Mendoza's the KO of the year. I see more people give it to Junto Nakatani. I was telling everybody about Junto Nakatani's left hand for 2 years. Because I covered Junto Nakatani when Inoue beat Das Marinas in his last fight in America. Junto was the undercard. And the first thing I said to Tim Bradley and some other media guys said, that motherfucker has a left hand. He has a left hand. And sure enough, a lot of people feel like that left hand was the knockout of the year over Maloney. I feel like it's Mendoza because it came out of nowhere. He was getting his ass kicked. He was losing every round. I was starting on my live stream. I was like, Salas might want to start thinking of stopping this. Boom! And then he knocked him out. One shot, left hook. Fundora was the boogeyman at 54. So I feel like that one left hook knockout and Fundora didn't even know where he was. Looking up at the ref, talking. He didn't even, while he was getting counted out, he was having a discussion with the referee as he was being counted out and didn't know where he was. And it came out of nowhere. I think Mendoza is the KO of the year. Brian Mendoza. Rudy Tupapa said, I'm working and listening. That's what's up, Rudy. Appreciate that, brother. I got to hold it down for the working men out there. Matty Boy says, Sean, my man, do you think Canelo stops Charlo? I don't think so. I think he's going to beat him, but not stop him. I have concerns about Canelo's stamina heading into this fight. Everybody I talk to in boxing, people that are close to the business, in the business, former champions, they all think Canelo's going to win. All of them. And some of them, people you would think would be pulling for Charlo, and nope, they're saying, nope, Charlo's losing this fight. But despite that, all these people I respect saying, I'm picking Canelo, but I'm worried about his stamina, man. I'm worried about his stamina. Once round 5 and 6 and 7 roll around at T-Mobile, I'm going to pull up in my chair a little bit and start really paying attention and see, is Canelo getting tired already? Because that's how he gets upset, is if he gets tired in the 5th, 6th, or 7th, Charlo sees it, senses it, steps on the gas against an aging fighter who is, so that I think is really, for me, that's the crux of next Saturday night's fight between Canelo and Charlo, is Canelo's stamina. I feel like the fight comes down to that, more than anything else. If Canelo gets tired too early, and he did against Bivol, then Charlo will step it up. His footwork will not let Canelo set his feet, and he'll move. Canelo will want him to stay still, and he won't. And Charlo is a great athlete with a great gas tank, and he'll step it up, let his hands go more than a tired Canelo, and win a decision. That's how I see Charlo winning. But I got Canelo winning. I think he's kind of starting to remind me of Pacquiao when Pacquiao stopped getting knockouts. Still would hurt guys, still would drop guys, still would win, but couldn't close the door anymore. Couldn't get the knockout. I saw that with John Ryder. And in Golovkin, he never really got close to knocking out Golovkin in the third fight, even though Gennady was at 68 and was older. And then against Ryder, he dropped him and dropped him and dropped him some more. But like Pacquiao against Algieri, couldn't get the stoppage because they're in their 30s now. They're not fighting with this much energy. So I think Canelo could knock out Charlo, but I don't think he's going to. I think it's going to go the distance, and I think Canelo will win probably 8 rounds and maybe get a knockdown, 116, 111. Yeah. But if he gets upset, I'll be less surprised than everybody else because I saw him get tired at that media workout last week. And that's a problem he had throughout his career that was mitigated when he went on his peak run, the second Golovkin fight to Plant. We began to forget about the stamina issues. They were mitigated. Now they're popping their ugly head again. And if they show up halfway through the fight, not later, if Canelo gets winded around the 8th or the 9th, that's okay. He could take a round off, finish strong. But if he starts getting tired in the 5th and the 6th, that's going to be an issue for him against Charlo. So we'll see. Marcos Chaz says Charlo will run the whole fight. That's possible. It's possible he feels the power of Canelo early, feels power he's never felt before, and it makes him a lot more timid than we're used to seeing him. So that is possible. And he goes into Zab Judah against Miguel Cotto mode. Maybe this looks like Zab Judah and Miguel Cotto a little bit. Best case scenario for Canelo. So we'll see. What do I think of Kermel Moulton against Esquivio Flores? I think Moulton's going to take care of business, and I think Kermel Moulton's, if we were using an NFL or NBA analogy, Kermel Moulton would be like a number 1 draft pick coming out of the draft this year in 2023. Yeah. He's the equivalent to a number 1 draft pick as a prospect this year. So I expect Kermel to pretty much skyrocket to a world title because we're in the 4-belt era. If you're really good, you're going to be a world champion. Now, becoming a great fighter, different conversation. We'll see. But I think that I have no doubt, really, that Carmel Moten will be a world champion one day. You know, to put it in context, that doesn't mean what it meant 40 years ago when there was only 1 or 2 belts. But I definitely think he's going to be a world champion. Could he be a superstar? Maybe. He has some tremendous upside. I think he will impress everybody in his pro debut next Saturday. So I expect very good things from him. Hitchens versus Zepeda. I think Hitchens is going to win the fight. Zepeda is a counterpuncher. He doesn't throw a whole lot of... He could let rounds and long stretches get away from him. Regis really beat the snot out of him in a way I didn't quite think he was. I thought that was going to be a more competitive fight for sure. And Regis blew right through him. I think Hitchens will win the fight. I think Hitchens is a good fighter who's getting better and better. He's long and he's fast. And as he continues to grow into his man strength and find some pop on his punches, that'll make him that much more formidable because long guys with speed are tough. Is that my son? You want to come in? You come in. Come in, baby. Come in, son.
I didn't realize you were there.
No, it's okay. The fight's over. I'm just talking.
Okay.
You want to say hi?
Hi.
Come here. Come here, baby. You want to show? Are you not feeling good? You're not feeling good today, chat. He's got his Ninja Turtles on.
I'm not feeling good.
You not feeling good? You got that? You want Daddy to be all done and we'll hang out? What game you want to play?
Halo.
You want to play Halo? Well, since he's sick, I'll let him play. I usually don't let him play the shooting games. We try to only let him play Mario and Nintendo. But you want to play Halo?
He says he wants to
You say
go to
please?
swim class.
You say please?
Please.
Do you still want to go swimming?
Yeah.
Okay, say bye-bye, chat.
Bye-bye.
You wave?
Dad.
Aw.
Okay. All right, chat. Let me get this little dude some video game time. Get him to his swim meets today. And get this family to San Gennaro. Hold on. Show him the pregnant belly, babe.
Oh,
I'm proud. Hold up. Watch this, chat.
Oh, yeah.
Pregnant with the second one, my fine woman. It's my little daughter, Sophia, in there. So Leo's going to be a big brother. But thank you guys, chat. Had fun with you guys. Much love. And I will see you guys throughout the week. I'll be doing some lives. I'll be doing interviews for Canelo Charlo. So keep it locked in here on Fight Hype.